Assalamu alaikum. The story of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam part 2. Allah always gives special gifts to the Prophet. He gave the Prophet Yusuf a special gift too. He taught Yusuf to understand dreams. One day, the king of Egypt had a strange dream. In the dream, he saw that there were 7 fat cows in a field. Then came 7 thin cows and they ate the 7 fat cows. After that, the king saw 7 green ears of corn. Then these 7 green ears of corn turned yellow. He was unable to understand this dream. The king asked his men to interpret it, but nobody knew the answer. One of the king's servants knew the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. He told king about him. The king told him to call the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, but the Prophet Yusuf was in prison on false charges. At the king's order, he was brought out of the prison. The Prophet Yusuf came to the palace. The king told him about his dream. The Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam knew the answer and explained it to the king. He said that the dream showed that there would be 7 years of good harvest followed by 7 years of drought. The king was very pleased with the Prophet Yusuf. He called those who had put him in prison. The innocence of the Prophet Yusuf immediately became known to the king. The Prophet Yusuf was released from prison and was put in charge of the king's granaries. When the drought came, after 7 years of good harvest, the fields became dry. No corn could grow on the dry land. Then the Prophet Yusuf opened the granaries. He gave wheat to the people. Nobody went hungry. People from far-off areas came to Egypt to collect grains. The brother of the Prophet Yusuf came too. The Prophet Yusuf recognized them, but he did not tell that he was their brother. He gave them lot of grain and asked them to come next year with their youngest brother. The following year, they came with Binyamin, and then the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam revealed to all of them his identity. His brothers asked him to forgive them. The Prophet Yusuf forgave them all. Then their brother also brought their father to Egypt, and the Prophet Yusuf was very happy. He thanked Allah for uniting him with his family. JazakAllah khair. Assalamu alaikum.